I'd really like a way to be able to see myself through the eyes of Source.
Well, that's what we've been talking about all day, but especially in this last segment. We're asking you to listen for the feeling of that. And so that just takes a little practice. We could tell you what it's like, and we could tell you what we see, but that's really not so helpful until you actually do it. That's what that last little segment was that we were offering to you. We can give you some clues. You're doing it when you're at your happiest. Frequently, Esther will be having a conversation with a friend or friends, and as the conversation gets going, suddenly she can feel herself covered with goosebumps, and she knows that it's because the conversation gathered enough momentum that non-physical is really flowing with them. Esther wants to demonstrate her goosebumps in evidence of the connection that she can feel, because even though the words that somebody is speaking, it might be Esther and it might be one of her friends, but somebody just said something that was what Source knows about it. And so in this moment, they're having a conversation from the perspective of Source. Do you ever find yourself just welling up with appreciation?
I do.
That's one of those moments. Do you ever find yourself feeling an impulse to do something with no reason to do it, but as you're doing it, you can feel the rightness of it? That's you living through the eyes of Source. And you'll do it more now that we've done a little bit of a sales job to convince you that in every moment that you are focused here, awake and focused, that Source that you're reaching for is focused to you and through you. And that negative emotion is you pinching that focus off. And really, really good feeling emotion is you letting it flow. It's really obvious, isn't it? When you're doing it and when you're not doing it.
The when, yes. The how to go from pinching it off.
But don't do that. All you got to do is focus on the when. And pretty soon you'll start figuring it out. For example, don't you notice that it happens more often when you are doing something that you really want to do? You're out there sort of free. Don't you notice that it's when you're observing something more beautiful?
Mm-hmm. That absolutely.
And so as you start noticing the things that you're doing that are more conducive to it happening, then you can do more of those kinds of things. It's a little conditional, but it's beneficial in that regard. Or what Esther has profoundly come to know is that on the days that she takes the time to tune herself through meditation, the day is magical. And on the days that she thinks, I'm just too busy to do that, not so magic.
Okay.
Words don't teach. It's only life experience that teaches. And now that you accept that your inner being is after you, now you accept that your inner being is right there interested, the very best experience Esther ever had. We're going to relate it to you because it was so meaningful to her. She and friends had been playing for a few days together. And Esther's grandchildren and some children of some of them were part of the mix. So there were 3 generations of them playing table games, having dinner together, frolicking together, and having so much fun over a period of time. And now it was time that everybody was sort of going to their own houses, and Esther was left with one friend, and they had gone to the fish market to have lunch. And Esther was talking about how delicious it is to her that she gets to see these little kids discovering who they are, and how fun it is to watch them in alignment or out of alignment and making adjustments, and how fun it is to frolic herself like she's one of them, and how fun it is for them to witness that too. In other words, how fun that harmony and synergy is, how delicious it is, and how fun. This was the part that Esther really felt strong when she was saying it. And how delightful it will be in all that is to come to get to witness all of these dear hearts in their own personal state of becoming. She was just salivating over it. And Esther's friend said, "Oh, Esther, that must be how our inner beings feel about us." And when her friend said that, the goosebumps flowed and tears are coming down their face, because she knew for sure that her inner being is aware of her and loving her and loving the objects of her attention, loving her family and loving her friends and loving. And that when she just lets herself feel what we feel, how good it is to her. And so That accomplishes for you a number of things. Your awareness that that exists, that it's real, that you have access to it, and that you can tune to it anytime you want, and that the more you tune to it, the easier it is. The easier it is. It just gets easier and easier.
So I've gotten a little stuck with
old thoughts.
Sure, they've been around a while, yeah. But it's the ones that are dependent on outside things for. So an external force has at one point brought me happiness. And it was fantastic. And now things are changing. And that wants to still bring that back.
Just focus for a moment on, because even the story we told was a little bit conditional in the sense that Esther was focusing on lovely time that they'd had together. But the thing that we really want you to hear is that in the conditional love, focus on conditions and then have an emotional response to it. In the conditional love or the conditional hate, in the conditional, you really don't have control over the conditions. You're just sort of an observer of them. In the unconditional love, which is what quieting your mind will do for you, quieting your mind takes all the conditions away and allows your vibration to rise so that you're seeing through the eyes of Source. Your question could not be more perfectly pointed to the very thing that we are wanting to convey in this segment. Take a cork's bobbing on the surface of the water. Let's call that alignment. Hold it under the water. Let's call that negative emotion. Let's call that misalignment. Let go of it and it will bob right back to the surface. Let's call that alignment again. Let's call that the receiving mode again. So your question is, how can I see through the eyes of Source? Well, you got to let your cork bob. You've got to stop thinking the thoughts that hold you down here. Because if you're doing it conditionally, then you got to do usually a whole lot of controlling. Sit down, be quiet, behave, don't do that, don't do that.
It's exhausting and impossible.
And impossible. It's impossible. But when you understand that all you got to do is get your cork to bob, and it'll do that anytime you quiet your mind, and then show yourself how easy it is to quiet your mind, and then allow your vibration to rise. And even though maybe in the first 5 or 10 or 15 settings you're not really even sure that you've got into the receiving mode, if you keep doing it, for sure, you will know. You just got to show it to yourself. So the unconditional love, you've been hearing about it a lot, haven't you? Unconditional love is loving in absence of any conditions. So your inner being just is that. And when you allow yourself to tune to that, then you are that too. And then you take that alignment and you flow it into the world. Hear the difference in this. You're going to like this. So conditional love is looking around for good things. Oh, there's one. Talking about it, showing it to others. There's one. Now we're all looking at this condition and we get a little bump in our vibration because we're looking at something good. So we're using the condition to cause the rise in vibration. Got it? Unconditional love is meditating because it's what I do. Quieting my mind because it feels good. Quieting my mind and allowing my vibration to rise. And then in my connection, finding conditions that are pleasing to me or causing creation that is pleasing to me. It's the cart before the horse and the horse before the cart thing.
Connect first.
Connect and then look. Don't look to try to connect. And most people are trying to adjust conditions so that they'll feel better. And then they get lost in the process because there's too many conditions to sort out and there's too many different people with different intentions. There's just too much to see. But if we can convince you that your vortex has already done all the aligning, that your vortex has already made everything blend, that your vortex has already done all the work, and all you got to do is find some way to quiet your mind and come into alignment with that, then all of this starts flowing into your experience. Unconditional love, unconditional living, unconditional succeeding, unconditional prospering, unconditional. The energy creating the conditions, not the conditions creating the energy.
Yeah.
Hear the perfection of your question? Abraham, I want to know how I can see through the eyes of Source. Hear how that question that brings that only answer? Abraham, I want to see through the eyes of Source. Abraham, I want to create unconditionally. Abraham, I want to tune into the energy that allows everything that I've been asking for to just begin flowing into my experience in these comfortable, perfect, unfolding ways. We want you to be ready, 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 to be ready. Esther's ready to receive the full-blown description of what we are giving to you. She's been ready to be ready to be ready, and she's in sync with who we are. And so as we stream our knowing to her, she's finding these seamless words to explain to you. But in the beginning, you can't hear these words in the clear way that Esther is offering them, and you don't need to, because words don't teach anyway. It's surprising that we say so many words. But we want you to, right here, right now, you can do it. We want you to grasp the concept of this vibrational reality that you have created that contains all of the things that you want as far as you've been able to decipher so far. And we want you to feel with us that the only thing that is important for you to do is to find some way of chilling out and being more glad and being more happy and feeling more better, so that you are in a vibrational receiving mode, so that you can begin to receive the impulses that your inner being is offering to you, because your inner being knows what you want, where it is, what its likelihood of unfolding, and when. In other words, your inner being knows that it's a sure thing that you will get what you want, but that you have to be ready 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 to be ready. And humans, we love you so much. You are so impatient. You don't want to be ready to be ready. You want the whole enchilada, and you want it right now. Because you want this full manifestation that you can't even really identify in its fullness, because it's so complex and it has so many layers of so much wonderful things that you've put into your vortex. You just want the void to go away. You want your void, or your absence of what you want, to be filled immediately with the full manifestation, even though you're not ready for it. That's like asking for something that cannot be. That's saying to law of attraction, give me something that I'm not yet a vibrational match to. That's a vibrational incompatibility that will not be. But you could be just as happy if you would be ready to be ready, which means just, we love you. Be quiet about what isn't working. Stop articulating what isn't working. Stop complaining about what isn't working. Stop noticing what isn't working. If you don't have the ability to imagine your dreams and your creations as you want them to be, then focus on nothing. Quiet your mind altogether. Put your feet in some river. Go fishing. Go lay on a beach somewhere. Do anything that you can do to shut this up. Because this constant evaluation of where you stand in relationship to where you want to be is the reason that you're not offering a vibration that's compatible with what you want, and it's blinding you to the impulses that could be so delicious to you. Oh, when you get the hang of this, when you, for example, meditate every day for a while, for 15 or 20 minutes, and then as you're coming out of meditation, you feel you recognize you receive a very clear thought from somewhere about something. And it may not be profound or very important in the scheme of world events, but it's something that feels good to you when you think it. And when you let yourself focus on it, and then it's like it's thinking you, because it's broadcasting and you're receiving. And when you're receiving, it's like listening to a story. Did anyone ever tell you a story? Did you ever just relax and let yourself be the receiver of a story where you weren't talking, you were just listening, and someone else was painting the picture? Oh, your inner being knows the story of what's in your vortex, and your inner being will tell you that story through impulses, through feelings, and through clear thoughts. And as you allow yourself to simply be the recipient of whatever you're ready for, with no impatience about it not being enough, about it not being clear enough, or about you not being receptive enough, just give it a go and see what you can receive. Each day that you meditate, and each day that you receive the download, and each day that you realize, hey, I didn't think that thought, I wasn't thinking anything about that, but there it was. And most important, there it was, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, did it feel good when it was there. That thought felt so good to me that I want to jump right up and move toward that.